I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public comment during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Will you please all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Chambers.
Yes, Mr. Nichols.
Here.
Ms. Parkhurst. Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mr. West.
Here.
Ms. Pritchard.
Here.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of December 18th, 2023, the organizational meeting on January 9th, the tax budget hearing on January 9th, and the special meeting on January 9th?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting or the minutes for all four of those meetings.
Second?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nichols. Thank you, Mr. West. Any discussion, changes, corrections? Okay, Mr. Chambers?
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go any farther, I just would like to let everyone know that we have moved the public comments to the end of the agenda. So if anyone wants to comment, it will be one of the last things that we do to give people time to get to the meeting. Number C is additions, removals, modifications to the agenda. I would like to move the proposed new Medina High School course offerings to a separate item. Anyone else would like to make any changes to the agenda? Okay, then could I have approval of the, do I have to vote on that? Okay, then can we have approval, we can have a motion for the rest of the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda for tonight.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Clarification with the changes.
yes.
Yes.
With the changes. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Nichols, to approve the consent agenda with the changes. Second with Mrs. Smoyer. Mr. Chambers?
Yes, Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Moyer.
Aye.
Mr. West.
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, Superintendent's Communication, Mr. Sable.
First item this evening is Board of Education recognition. Every January across the state of Ohio, we take a moment to recognize the work of our public education servants, specifically our elected board officials. And I think it's important that we take a few moments here at our January regular meeting to recognize our board members. Because you all really do a thankless job for all the students of Medina City Schools. The amount of hours that you put in and dedicate to our school district and our students really isn't seen by our general public, staff, or population. It's our meetings that are filmed and broadcast, but the endless amount of hours and meetings, whether it's discussions about what's happening in the district, preparation for these upcoming meetings, discussions about what's going on in the district, serving on committees within the district, attending community functions, taking time during the day to honor a school employee who's receiving an award, attending a graduation or promotional ceremony, or going to a student recognition, athletic activity, performance, The amount of work that you do, the day-to-day conversations with community members and staff members about what's happening in the district and the importance of the work that's happening in the district, the vital roles that you all make and the decisions that you make in support of our students. You are all directly responsible for the success that we have within our school district and the success of our students as they graduate and they go on to their next steps in their lives. In addition to that, you hold an extreme responsibility in representing our community and the constituents that elect you. That's one of the things that's very special about public education, is that we serve a community and we serve all corners of that community. And that's why we have 5 elected board members. And I can truly say that the conversations that are had amongst our board members, or that I have had and Dave has had individually, and the various opinions about what is right for Medina City Schools, what is right for our community isn't always seen, because a lot of that happens behind the scenes. But there is a lot of passion sitting around this table for what happens for our kids, for our staff, for our administrators, and it's all comes from a very warm, caring, and genuine place for what's best for Medina City Schools. So I thank you for your dedication to our students. I thank you for running to be on our school board and be willing to take on the kind of responsibility that you do to serve our district. And we have a video presentation that we want to share with you from our staff and our students.
Thank you so much for supporting our students, our staff, and our greater community as a whole. We all appreciate you.
Medina School Board, thank you so much for all you do for the community and for our kids. We couldn't do it without you. Thanks again.
Thank you for all the support you give to Medina.
Thank you for listening to our ideas as a parent and an educator.
Thank you for all the support you give us at Medina.
Thank you for all your support with our extracurricular activities.
Thank you for all the opportunities that you give us here at the high school.
I want to thank the school board for the countless hours that you put in to making sure our students are safe and happy and become well-rounded adults. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you for all the support you provide for Huddle.
Thank you for all you do for our staff at MHS.
Thank you for all the time that you put in to help better our school system.
Thank you for all of your support with our curriculum adoptions.
Muchísimas gracias por todo lo que hagas para nuestros estudiantes.
Thank you, School Board, for providing our students with pathways to success.
Thank you guys for everything you do for the school district. It means a lot to all of us.
Thank you for supporting all of our athletics.
Thank you for providing opportunities like cooking to Medina to make it more fun.
Thank you so much for giving students awesome opportunities such as the career exploration class.
Thank you so much for everything you do for the school.
I love working here, and part of that is thanks to you, Board of Education.
Thank you, Board of Education, for all the support you give us here at the high school.
Thank you, Board of Education, for supporting the Performing Arts Center and Medina TV.
Hey, to Medina City Schools School Board, just want to say thank you so much for all your support academically and athletically. It does not go unnoticed.
All right.
Friends, 1, 2, 3.
Also, Andrew West, best jam, best applesauce maker on the face of the earth. My kids love it. Thank you.
I know it doesn't always feel like it when you're having difficult conversations or you're responsible for making difficult decisions, but people really do see that you care and appreciate it. And I want to thank our special education students who you actually saw in that video. They run a coffee cafe out of our media center at the high school, and they made some treats for all of our board members, puppy chow and chocolate cookies for our board, which I think they shared out with our audience tonight as well. Great. And next up, more happy sharing. I would like to invite Gretchen Newton up, from principal at Canavan, where she's going to be sharing about deeper learning in the language arts classroom.
Great, thank you. So I figured now that we have officially adopted CKLA as our new curriculum for elementary language arts next year, it would be great for you guys to really get to see all of the deeper learning opportunities that have been embedded in this curriculum, especially at Canavan. So it's great to bring teachers in, and I feel really bad that I wasn't able to bring them in this meeting. We were a little unsure with the dates, but we were able to get them to really share their input. We were able to share some students' input, so I put together a video, and I will gladly answer any questions if you have them afterwards.
This year, we've had the opportunity to pilot CKLA curriculum in 3 grade levels, kindergarten, 2nd, and 4th. CKLA stands for Core Knowledge Language Arts Curriculum. This curriculum has provided countless opportunities for our students this year to expand their learning and really embrace the concept of what deeper learning is. CKLA is divided into 2 components, skills and knowledge. The skills portion of each lesson helps students develop the necessary foundational skills to become proficient readers and writers. The knowledge portion allows students to dive into a variety of topics, rich in vocabulary, language, and background knowledge. The teachers at Canavan this year have been able to connect all of our work with deeper learning to CKLA easily thanks to these rich and engaging concepts within CKLA's knowledge unit.
Hi, I'm Victoria Barco, a kindergarten teacher at Canavan. At the beginning of the school year, we decided to really focus in on deeper learning in our classrooms while connecting it to our state standards and the knowledge component of our CKLA curriculum. One of the first knowledge units that we discussed was on fables and nursery rhymes. When discussing fables, students worked hard to understand the moral that was being taught in the fable. One of the classroom favorites was The Lion and the Mouse. In this fable, the lion was stuck in a trap and the mouse was the one that saved him and got him out. The students realized that no matter how small they are, they can have a big, lasting impact on others. At this time, students were also learning about American symbols, civic participation, and veterans. A common theme found within American symbols is freedom. During classroom discussions, students asked what freedom means. This led to questions about how we are allowed to be free and stay free. Students discussed the military and how they fight for our freedom. We had students in our classes with parents who are veterans, which helped the students feel a deep connection to wanting to help. When learning about veterans, students wanted to know what they could do to help heroes in our own city. That is how we discovered the Greater Cleveland Fisher House.
I'm Nikki Peppard, and I also teach kindergarten here at Canavan. Once we established we were going to work with the Fisher House, we took a virtual field trip where students learned about what the Fisher House does for veterans and their families. During time for questions at the end of our field trip, a few students wanted to know if we could help the Fisher House by donating items. As a grade level, we worked together to collect many different items that the Fisher House had requested. We then worked to categorize the items and tally them before taking them to the Fisher House. Students were able to donate over 100 items and felt a huge sense of pride. Just like the mouse in our fable, students felt that they had made a big impact, even though they are just 5 and 6 years old. Students were very engaged and loved making the connection between our donation project and our knowledge lessons.
Hi, I'm Jolene Speckman, second grade teacher at Ella Canavan. I was fortunate enough this year to be able to pilot the CKLA program for second grade. My students were able to cover a unit called Early Asian Civilization. You would think, wow, that's a high school or even a college level class, but the engagement and excitement that my students were able to have while learning all about the early Asian civilization was really neat. I was even learning things that I've never learned before right alongside the students. This year at Canavan, we were able to take the deeper dive into deeper learning. We found that using CKLA was a very streamless and easy way to incorporate the launch, which is bringing in outside experts into the classroom. With our unit in Early Asian Civilization, we were able to incorporate many different aspects, such as chopsticks. We worked with our media specialist, Miss Julia Gall, and she was able to tour Asia and was able to bring in some artifacts that she had collected in her travels and pictures. And so the kids were able to try on and even learn more about the real world from Mrs. Gall. We were able to get a high school teacher, Miss Gibbons, to come in and teach the students how to read and write and speak in Chinese. Very fortunate this year I have a student that her uncle lives in China, and so he did a video call with us and told us about what life was like and what a daily life would be like in China. We collaborated with our wonderful Canavan PTO and were able to get a grant to get extra books into our classroom about the topic. We collaborated with our art teacher, Miss Jess Daling, and she was able to teach the students how to do origamis. And we even had some win time available, and the students had a choice board, and they were able to take that deeper dive and research and come up with an activity for them to show their learning. With all that the students have learned and grasped, it really made a unit come to life, and it was exciting to watch my students grow.
Hello. Hi. Do you know about Diwali? No, tell me about it. Okay, Diwali started in November. Diwali is India's biggest holiday of the year. Diwali is 5 days. Wow, there's still more. Oh, sorry. Diwali is a celebration to welcome the new year and the victory of good over evil, light over darkness, and knowledge over ignorance. Wow, you really do know all about Diwali. Bye!
Great job.
Hi, my name is Beth Nickley and I teach 4th grade at Canavan Elementary. We have some very interesting CKLA units this year, and one of our favorites so far has been called Empires in the Middle Ages. To launch the unit, we built a big castle outside the pod where 4th graders come to school every day. And inside the castle, we've set up a curiosity station where the students could ask and answer questions about the Middle Ages. Throughout the unit, students role-played being parts of the feudal system while learning all about the time period. Our art teacher taught them about castles and gargoyles. Our phys ed teacher showed them how to play Defend the Castle. And we listened to music from the Middle Ages, too. After we spent some time boosting our knowledge through the readings in CKLA, it was time to dive deeper into our learning. The students, were able to choose their own research topic that related to the Middle Ages, choose how they wanted to research, and the ways that they wanted to present the information to the class. Research shows that when students are empowered, they're attentive, they're committed to their interests. They're able to choose their own learning path, they're able to assess their own learning, and they're inspired by all the possibilities that the learning has. So we focused on the collaboration competencies of the Medina Bees too, because they gave specific feedback to their peers who adjusted the presentations based on that feedback. They chose to learn about so many really cool topics: the fashion of the Middle Ages, food that people ate, art of the time period, historical figures, of course, but also things like the Black Plague and weapons and warfare tactics, and even art of the time period. Their presentations were fabulous. They created plays, they designed games, they did Google presentations, and several of them also made props at home to support the findings that they had during their research. To wrap up this unit, we invited the Society for Anachronism to come to Canevin, and these people are experts on Middle Ages and the history. They showed the students what it would be like to live in the Middle Ages. They let them weave and create stained glass windows. They taught them about sewing and weaponry and even etiquette. And then at the end of the day, we got to witness a real-life battle between knights in full armor. The students were enthralled with the presentation and felt empowered to share their own personal knowledge with the presenters. It was a fabulous experience. Thank you so much.
Sorry, I know it was a little long, but I just had to get all 3 grade levels to share the great work that they are doing. Is there any questions that the board has?
No, but thank you so much. I mean, that was very informative. I'm glad you got to do all 3 levels. That was, and for the kindergartners at this age to be able to help, the veterans and down in Cleveland, I think it's great. Thank you for taking the time, and thank the teachers for doing this.
I will make sure I pass that along. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you ever get an opportunity to actually go into one of those classrooms, CKLA classrooms, and observe, and I know Joe has been in some of those classrooms, it really is impressive to see the work that those teachers are doing with our students and how expansive the reading and writing lessons have become beyond even the reading and writing. Just the depth of knowledge that they're getting into at the elementary level is really impressive, and I've had the chance of being in those classrooms over at Canevin, so thank you, Gretchen. Next, I'd like to invite Elisa Tadona up, principal at our high school. She's going to share information about course offerings that are on tonight's agenda, and I would like the board to know that I did update the online board agenda based off of the vote at the beginning of the agenda. If you refresh your agenda, you'll see it updated.
All right, good evening. So before I get into our 3 courses that we are proposing, I wanted to talk a little bit about the process that we take at the high school. So we are firm believers in giving our students a choice and having a voice in what their courses are. So I come to you tonight with 3 courses based on student interest, as well as some teacher passions, because I do think it's best practice to blend the 2. So today was actually our last day of what we call the elective fair. This is our 2nd year doing it. And today was the last day because we had our snow day last week, so it kind of got pushed. But our elective fair is a way to showcase and highlight all of the electives that we have to offer. And during that time, we also bring in our military branches, which is really cool, and some of our local job sites. So some of our students are filling out applications when they're in the elective fair, which is really neat. So we try to meet the needs of all of our students and wherever their passions kind of go. So our students at this time have now been able to explore all the electives that we have to offer. In addition to that, our counselors will also take the time to meet individually with each and every student, 9 through 12, well, 9 through 11, which is really neat, and I think that's very unique to Medina High School, so I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that to you guys tonight. So our 3 new courses, I'll go through them, and then obviously any questions I'm more than happy to answer. So our first one is a social studies semester half credit, which is our rock and soul. One of the reasons we wanted to add this course is, one, because we're trying to engage a population of our students, which I think everybody knows that we have a very musically inclined student body. So we thought that one way to get them more engaged is to offer a course that has a little bit of music in addition to our social studies requirements. What also is going to be beneficial for this class is our financial literacy, starting with the graduating class of 2026, is its own separate requirement. So that is a half credit requirement that we now have to have that does not count for social studies. So before, and actually currently for even this graduating class, we kind of alternate our government and our financial literacy. So if you have government in the fall, you might have financial literacy in the spring. We can't necessarily do that because financial literacy does not count as a half credit for social studies anymore, starting with the class of 2026. So we need some semester social studies electives to pull in that extra half credit. So that's one of the added benefits to this rock and soul class. Our Theater 2 class is for students who are interested in theater, but our introductory class is not necessarily meeting their needs. We often hear from our students in our theater program that they want a class that they can take aligned with theater. None of our theater kids are in our Theater 1 class because it's too much of an intro level. So offering this course is an opportunity to meet their needs in addition to our Theater 1 class constantly telling our counselors that they want another class to go into after Theater 1, because right now it's very much of an introduction and then that's kind of it. So this will hopefully meet that need. This is also a course that can be repeated more than one time, which is unique for some of our classes. So a student who is in this advanced theater, if you will, can take this more than one time over the course of their high school career, which is beneficial. You do not necessarily need to be in Theater 1 in order to take Theater 2. We understand, because of the school that we are, that we have a lot of students coming into our high school already with a lot of experience, so there is an option for them to jump right into Theater 2. Our last class is our athletic performance training class, again, a semester course. This is one that we have heard a lot of commentary about from our student body, wanting a class that they can take that meets their athletic needs. Right now, we have a waiver in place, which we will still have, that does not require our athletes to take a PE class because they're on an athletic team. So this class will hopefully bring in a different population of students in order to get that PE requirement. You do not need to be on a school-sponsored athletic team in an athletic program associated with Medina High School in order to be in that class. So we did adjust the wording a little bit to make that a little bit more clear, where you can be in this course without being on our basketball team, for example. We use the word athlete to signify that this is more of an advanced class. We already have a strength training class, which is the introduction, I would say, to a class like this. But we very well could have students who are coming in who are ready for this athletic performance training class and are already kind of surpassed that strength training class. So we wanted to offer another level. What I like about this one too is that this offers an opportunity for peers to have role models in that class, because a lot of times right now, with none of our athletes taking PE because they have it waived, we have a lot of students in that class who aren't as easily engaged in our PE curriculum because it's just not their interest, it's not their passion. So now if you bring in students where this is their passion, you have some peer role models to help model some of the passion and interest behind, hopefully, our PE courses. So that is the added benefit of our athletic performance class. None of these, if approved by you guys tonight, will necessarily wind up on a student's schedule. I started this evening by saying that our students have a huge voice in our scheduling process, and for every single one of our classes, whether it's new or old, there's a disclaimer that says it really depends on how many students sign up for the course. So if kids don't sign up for the course, then we're not going to offer the course. That's same for a course that we may have been had for a decade. If kids don't sign up for it, then we don't offer it. So that is a huge thing, and I don't think every high school does that, but we are very passionate about meeting the needs of our students and also their passions so that they can explore things and figure out what they want to study, whether it's in college or what they want to do in life beyond high school. And one of the best ways to do that is to offer them a variety of courses. So that's why we have these 3 courses tonight to add.
I also want to add to what Dr. Tadona has mentioned, and I know it's difficult in a time when I'm going to talk about reductions next, to talk about new courses at the high school. And 3 courses is significantly lower amount of courses than we typically are looking at adding at the high school. And when we're talking about adding courses at the high school, they are not additional classes. So in order for these classes to potentially run at the high school, there will be other classes that are not offered. So this does not include the addition of any additional staff, nor do these classes include the addition of a cost for additional curriculum, because the curriculum is created and generated by our current staff. What we are committed to and making an effort to do is, despite the unfortunate financial situation we're in making reductions, is still offering the highest quality of academics to our students that we can. And part of that, as Dr. Tadona stated, is looking at what kind of offerings we have out there for our students and doing what we can to have the highest quality offerings that best meet our students' needs so that they're engaged in the academic process. And that's the intent with the potential offering of these classes.
I just wanted to mention a couple things really quick. We had a curriculum meeting earlier today and actually went over these to make sure that the curriculum committee itself was okay with it. And there were a lot of great questions in there. I mean, like the athletic performance class, there was a question about, well, you know, the form does matter as far as, you know, hurting yourself. Bad form can cause injuries and things like that. And it was addressed that one of the people that the district is thinking about putting in charge of that class is way more than qualified to handle overseeing students, making sure form is good. And also, as you had mentioned, it's not an introductory class. It's for, you know, a higher level, maybe students that, you know, go to Planet Fitness, things like that. So even from a family perspective, you could look at cost savings by offering this class for students that are looking for something a little more advanced, which is really nice. Yeah.
One, just a comment about the, what do you call it, Rock and Soul. Mm-hmm. My youngest son's at OSU, and he took a class that almost looks like almost verbatim from it. It's a very popular class at OSU, so he thoroughly enjoyed that. Also, I noticed the change in the athletic performance, that it does not have to be just, you know, school-sponsored athletes, and I think that's important to make sure that's clarified for everybody. So yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. We wanted to make sure that there was no confusion there.
Having taught PE for 30 years, I like this course, but as soon as, I don't know how to put this, the ordinary phys ed student sees athletes, that word, they are going to immediately exclude themselves because they don't see themselves as athletes. So I see this as going to be more of an athlete-centered course, which I realize you've opened it up and you've clarified it, but I'm just wondering if there's any way that we could eliminate the word athlete, so any student who wants to, make it more clear that you do not have to run a 5-minute mile or anything else, because I just know from just talking to other kids, and the kids that I had, they don't see themselves as athletes. They just see themselves as a kid that has to take phys ed and their parent won't pay for the waiver. So that's the one thing. And then my other question, I understand and I get all the fact that we're not going to have the classes unless we have a certain number. But let's just say when all is said and done, that with the teacher matches up and the kids match up, and there are 40 kids that want to take this course, this athletic course, how are we going to narrow that down? Because 40 is not going to be safe with one person. So that's my other question.
So based on the course that's offered, we do our scheduling kind of in a reverse manner. Again, depending on the course, you can put requirements in the system to say, this course we want to go in this order, this course we want to go in this order. A course like this, especially when it's the first year offering it, we're going to go reverse order and offer it to seniors and then trickle its way down. So, and we can put a cap. So 40 kids, if that's not, just to use your number you said, won't be able to get into the class. It will come up as closed. If we know ahead of time that it'll only be one section, because that would, using number 40 tells me that we're only doing one section course. If we had 2 sections, we could do 40. So it really just depends on the course and the manner in which we go about scheduling it. There are many other options where we would schedule freshmen first, and seniors would have last pick, if a pick at all. So for a class like this, though, being its first year, to get it up and going, we'd probably look at seniors and trickle its way down and make sure juniors are in there as well for next year, having the option to help sell it to other students. And just to speak to your athlete, I'm happy to kind of workshop that a little bit and come up with some better options. I will say, though, the benefit of our counselors meeting individually with students is for them, for that exact reason, for them to catch all of those students who maybe didn't know about a course, whether it's this one or a different one, that aligns with their passion. We have a wonderful counseling team, and the records that they keep on our students is second to none. So they are very, very good. So they'll be able to catch some of those things and help encourage students to take courses that they really should be in, because that's a passion of theirs.
Yeah, because I'm particularly thinking of our championship weightlifter.
Actually, we talked about her today.
Yeah, and because this would be a course that certainly I think would help her. And also you talk about being a role model. I imagine some of the boys, when they go in there and they see her lifting, they're going to go, I'm not in this class anymore. So anyways, okay, thank you very much.
Yes,
I appreciate it.
Is there any chance we could change, instead of athlete, we can just change it to student?
We talked about that today, actually, me and one of the counselors. Our only hesitation with that is we want to make sure that there's a clear distinction between our strength training class, which is an introductory class, and this class, which should be someone coming in that is an athlete, that has a level of understanding of what they're coming into, because then it does become dangerous if you don't know the appropriate way to go about it. So there could be better ways of us to do that and change that word.
Yeah, is the strength training like a prereq to this then?
So we can't go that route necessarily, because our athletes that do have that waiver don't take that class. So that would exclude all of them. So there's just, yes, we can definitely do better on the wording, and that's something we can go back and talk about.
That would be preferable. In the theater 2, you mentioned that they don't have to take theater 1. What would they have to show? That they've done a play or something to that aspect to get into theater 2?
Yeah, they would have to have a conversation with the individual who I believe will be, if this ends up happening, teaching that course, so that we could see what that looks like. We didn't want to put it in place just yet, because I think we're going to have so many differing things out there that I think it's easier to see what we get and then come up with a better fine-tuned structure as we continue down the road.
All right, I have one last thing. And I'm kind of tooting curriculum committee's horn a little bit, but I think it's so cool that we offer classes like this way, where it's definitely like student interest. And that's one thing that I really want to stress, is its student interest. It wasn't, us 5 board members going, oh, it'd be really cool, an advanced training, athletic performance training class. Or, it's not the curriculum committee going, or even department going, theater 2 would be great. Like, this is the core of that student-led learning. Like, they figure out the classes that they want to take as their electives, bring it to us and go, hey, this would be awesome. And then hopefully we have enough kids that think the same thing that we can offer that. So it's just cool.
I agree. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you.
My next item is I would like to provide the board as well as the community an update on our status in terms of our financial situation. Mr. Chambers had shared a few months ago that it was likely or pending that we were going to be placed on a cautionary status by the State Department. The reason for this is because of our 5-year forecast. So Medina City Schools has been placed on what is called precaution status by the Department of Educational Workforce. The precaution status is put into place because the 3rd year of our 5-year forecast, we go into a deficit budget. Because we are in a precaution status, we have to develop a plan that shows us going into the positive, not going into a deficit in that 3rd year of the forecast. There's 2 ways in this plan that we can show that we are not going to go into a deficit per the plan. The first way is through the generation of new income, and the second way is through reductions. The generation of new income is a challenging way to eliminate the deficit. And the reason why is because we're not able to use a pending levy as a means to remove the deficit state. School districts, public school districts, are very limited on our ability to be able to find other sources of income. Therefore, in order to get out of the deficit state in year 3, we are heavily reliant on reductions. The state has a very specific plan template that we have to work through in order to outline what we are going to do so that we are not in a deficit state in year 3. Dave and I have been working with a representative from the State Department and collaborating with them in putting together a plan to ensure that we are not going to be in a deficit in year 3. In addition, we've been collaborating with our central office administrative team in order to look at areas across the district where we can make reductions so we are not in a deficit in year 3. We are formulating various areas which include personnel, administration, teaching, as well as classified personnel, as well as looking at programming where we can make reductions going into next school year in order to eliminate the deficit. As challenging as this is, this does fit within the plan that we already had in place. When we had talked with the board in previous meetings and were making decisions about placing a levy on the ballot and made the decision for a 7.5 mil operating levy, we knew at that time that even with the passage of that levy, we were looking at $8 to $10 million in reductions over the course of the next 4 to 5 years. That equates to approximately $2 to $2.5 million in reductions each year over the course of the next 4 to 5 years. The amount of reductions that we need to make per the state's plan for year 3 of the 5-year forecast is approximately $2 to $2.5 million in reductions. So it's the same as what we were looking at in regards to what we need to make with the 7.5 mil levy passage. So what we've been studying in terms of reductions is what we had mentioned when we presented to the board. We are well on our way into the redistricting plan in terms of looking at our personnel, and are looking at where we can reduce staff without making cuts. And what I mean by that is we are looking at staff that we know are going to be retiring, or staff that we know have already resigned, and not replacing those positions so that we don't actually have to cut individuals. We are making every effort to take that approach in order to make as many of the reductions as we can. The reality is that we're not going to be able to make all of the reductions with that strategy. However, we are going to be able to make the bulk of them. I do anticipate that we are going to be in a situation where some of the reductions will be through reduction in force. I also anticipate that some of the administrative reductions will be through either reduction in force or through cutting positions. And that's so that we can get to that $2 to $2.5 million level. All of these reductions that we're looking at with the passage of the 7.5 mil levy will be permanent reductions to the district. The good news is with the board's decision to put the 7.5 mil levy on the ballot with its passage, despite the reductions across the district, we will see a minimal impact to overall programming in the district. We will see an impact. I would anticipate that we will see some reductions to some of the course offerings at high school and middle school, as well as some increased class sizes down at the elementary levels. But nothing that should be too overwhelming at any of the buildings, and still being able to offer high quality programming at our middle schools and our high schools. The challenge and concern, as we have mentioned in the past, is with the levy. If the levy were to not pass in May, we would, in March, in the year 2024, we would, per the state's plan, be looking at much larger scale reductions in the district in order to meet the requirements placed upon us to not go into deficit by the state of Ohio. We will be communicating out tomorrow to staff the information that I just shared with the board, as well as sending out a communication to our parents and community as well, so that they have the information about our precaution status. We do not at this time have detail and are not prepared to share detail about the reductions, as it's an ongoing work in progress. Those details will be available by the end of February. We are required by the state to present the finalized plan to the Board of Education at our regular meeting in February. At that time, the details within that plan, including the identified reductions, will be public, and we will have a communication following that board meeting to release what that plan is and the details of that plan. My goal is to work as closely as we can with our associations throughout the course of the next month to keep them as aware as we can per our negotiated agreements as we're working through these very difficult decisions. Any questions from the board in regards to the precaution status? The final item I have is levy updates. I do want to make the board aware, and I really want to thank our building principals because they've been doing an outstanding job really communicating with their staff and their parents and working with their PTOs in terms of providing factual information about the upcoming levy and the impacts on their buildings as well as on our district, and I want to thank them for that. In addition, all of our building principals have put together informational nights where they are working to provide factual information to their building communities. When I say building communities, I mean their staff as well as their parents and extended communities around their buildings. They're doing it in different formats connected to other meetings that they're holding. Some of them are doing bingo nights in their buildings, so they've gotten creative. But they're really providing very rich information to staff as well as parents and communities that are attending those meetings. So I want to thank them for their hard work, and I would encourage board members, if you're available, to stop in on those meetings, and also encourage our communities. If a school near you is having one of those, stop in and get the facts from your building principals. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sable, and thanks to Mrs. Busby for the treats from the kids and the wonderful video. That was very nice. Really appreciate that. And just to echo about the levy, just a reminder, Kids First Medina has a fundraiser at the Foundry on February 3rd. I saw today on Facebook that they have more tickets available, so if you can go, I think it'll be a fun night. Mr. Chambers, Treasurer's Communication.
Thank you. The district bank balance decreased $6.8 million in December to $51 million. This is $6.3 million below last year at this time. 5-year forecasted revenues were above last December by $2 million. Real property, personal property, state foundation, property tax allocation, and other revenue account for the increase. Whereas our 5-year forecasted expenditures were above last December by $67,000. This is due to benefits, personal services, supplies, and materials, and other expenditures. The sales tax fund balance decreased to $3.08 million. The district spent approximately $42,000 in December, with major expenditures on the heritage renovation consultation. The rec center capital fund balance decreased to negative $562,000. The district spent $216,000 in December on the expansion project, also on the natatorium project, and other small items. The district received $900 from the city for new batting cages, and payments from the city for the expansion project and the natatorium project. Billing went out. I believe $400 and some odd $1,000 is anticipated from the city. The district received $74,100 in investment income for December. The total collected for the current fiscal year is approximately $368,000 above last year at this time. And finally, the district has forecasted funds true days cash estimated to be 122 days. This is down from November by 28 days and below last year by 29 days. We are also at the lowest point with true days cash. From the time that I've been here, 2014, I believe the lowest point was 84 days. and this is the second lowest point that we've been at. Questions on financials? We have supplemental appropriations on the agenda. Our first supplemental is for the substitute levy. Our business manager asked for an increase in the substitute levy to cover insurance purposes. We also have the class of 24. The class of 24 received additional funds, so they would like to spend them this year. And finally, we have a fund-to-fund transfer. This fund-to-fund transfer is our annual transfer from the general fund to the rec center fund. It's $130,000 this year. It's moving up to $150,000 in the next 2 years. Questions?
Okay, board comments. Mr. West.
Not a huge amount to report back, but I did attend Spice this past Saturday evening. It was a good show. Lots of kids get up and really put themselves out there with a lot of singing. One of the most interesting things I saw was two young ladies signing to, I can't remember the song. I'm just not good at that, but two young ladies signing to it. So they were singing with sign language, and I thought that was really neat. I have never seen that before, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. I have my first Career Center board meeting tomorrow night, and next Thursday we have a facilities meeting. So that's all I've got.
Thank you, Mrs. Moyer.
I honestly don't have anything to update.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Nichols.
I have just a couple things. As far as the curriculum stuff, went over that earlier. We had a meeting today just discussing primarily the classes that we're going to vote on later. And then I wanted to say thanks for, the food that you had given us, the puppy chow, maybe something like that, and cookies. Really appreciate it, but board appreciation is silly to me because honestly, like none of it happens, none of it gets done, none of it is easy without the combination and collaboration of the administration working with us, teachers reaching out if they have questions about something, the students here, and we are a representation of the community and very different parts of the community, especially looking at the board. Like you know that we have different opinions that are very reflective of where we are. But also we are an echo chamber back into the community for the district. And that's what the job is. I don't think anybody runs for school board thinking they're going to retire on the money that comes in. If you do, I recommend not doing it. But yeah, I wanted to make a statement about that. The other thing, my yearly hats off to Andrew West, who mentioned, I think 2 years ago, hey, can we start taking care of our sidewalks when it snows and it's icy? I walked here because I'm close enough, but that was a pain just to do it once, and we have kids that walk to classes every single day. I think it's not necessarily unfair to look at it as if the school district didn't take care of their sidewalks, the community would be in an uproar. So expect from yourself what you expect from the district, right? Just take care of your sidewalks, throw a little salt down so it's not slippery. Most kids will have boots, but some kids don't have the appropriate footwear or access to the appropriate footwear to be walking through that. And having them walk through the street, that's not something I want to do, and I would assume that's not something anybody else wants on their conscience because they didn't shovel a driveway or a pathway. And then two more things that I want to mention that I saw on Facebook, I know, I roll, 2 scholarship opportunities that our students, well, 2 scholarship opportunities and an opportunity for teachers. Black Cat Books and Oddities. I want to make sure that I try and get all of it. They were actually awarded a grant from Baldwin Wallace and to help improve their store in one way or another. And what they decided to do is spend $250 to every single school that we have and award it to one teacher. And they have a little competition. If you go on their Facebook page or their website, you can enter that teacher at your building, or that if you have, say, a high schooler at high school, at middle school, and in the elementary school that you feel should have that $250 to go towards books for their classroom. And then the scholarship opportunities, well, okay. Black Cat, the deadline is February 16th to throw in your nominations. And then the scholarship opportunities is a collab between Main Street, Medina, and Cool Beans, and Main Street, Medina, and Black & Decker. The Cool Beans one, they are offering between $500 and $1,000 to students in Medina County as a entrepreneur scholarship. And then the Black & Decker one is $1,000 for outdoor trade and business scholarship is what they call it. So you can go onto the Main Street Medina site, see all the information there. Deadline on that is March 29th. I'm done now.
Aren't you supposed to announce the portrait of all the different things that are going on in February, that evening meeting? No. All right, we'll ask Dr. Kwolek, do you know when that date is for the portrait? 21st? Okay.
Portrait to practice.
Portrait to practice, okay, thank you. Is that the same night as the sextortion? No, yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up, Jean. The sextortion presentation we're doing in combination with the FBI and the Children's Center. I'm looking it up. But we're really, that is for parents only. Don't bring your children to that. That we're presenting in collaboration, like I said, with the FBI. I'm trying to kill time while I go.
Oh, that's fine. Take your time.
February 20th at the PAC.
Okay.
But again, I can't stress enough, that's adults only.
Okay.
But it is, I'm going to go on my soapbox a little bit. I don't think people realize, just this week we dealt with a matter with a student that involves sextortion. So it's kids playing video games, getting on their phones, and people are reaching out to them and connecting with them in Medina, here in Medina, offering them gift cards, other things, to send pictures and other things. So I really encourage as many parents as can come. The FBI, again, will be there presenting, and it's a really important topic.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to congratulate Lily Graziazzi who's from Medina. She was the December Student of the Month at the Career Center. She's in the teaching program. At the high school, Ryan Ham and Ashley Kolar, the January Students of the Month. I'd like to congratulate wrestler Blaine Chrisman on winning the MIT, the first in his family to win, and he just agreed to go to college at Edinburgh. Ella Bomer was the GCC diving champion, and we believe she was the first female diving champion we had. Lainey Miller, who is a freshman, will sing at Carnegie Hall in February with other kids from across the country, but what an amazing thing for her. The AI Root debate team went to Wadsworth, and they had a first place and a third place. So I think that's, amazing, our future debaters. I sat next to Mr. West and his wife. It was a great show from the kids, and a lot of credit because they're standing up there in front of their peers and parents, and they're nervous. And the Friday show was postponed, and so it will be moved to this coming Friday. So if anybody wants to attend, they can. Just get your tickets, and you can buy them at the door. The girls basketball team at the high school had some really big victories, and right now they're in first place in the conference. Saturday, since there wasn't the pancake breakfast, I got to come and watch the girls' 7th and 8th grade Claggett and Root games, and the boys were going on here tonight, so I'm not sure who won, but it's always a great rivalry. And I think that's it. I would like to thank Black Cats and Oddities for offering these certificates to our teachers. I think that's really great. And from what I read on Facebook, they had a lot of nominations already. And while I don't always look at Facebook, I would like to just say one thing to the parents. I shouldn't say a lot, a few people were complaining that teachers were not updating their child's grading, their grades. Well, just remember, we've only been 9 days into this semester, and there's been a lot going on, and sometimes the classes change. So please don't take it out on Facebook and say that every teacher is horrible, because there are not horrible teachers, but sometimes they have lives. Please email or call the teacher and say, hey, I'd like to have a progress report on my child, and they will certainly get back to you within 24 hours. So that's my little eye roll for Facebook. So action items, Mr. Chambers.
If it pleases the board, action item number 1, Treasurer's Financial Report. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the December 23 Treasurer's Financial Report. Item 2, Permanent Appropriations. It is recommended the Board of Education approve the following supplemental to the 23-24 Permanent Appropriations. We have our 016 substitute levy for $4,600 and our 294-24 class of 24 fund for $900. And finally, fund-to-fund transfer. It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the following fund-to-fund transfer. General fund to the rec center for $130,000.
Can I have a motion to approve treasurer's action items?
I'll make a motion to approve treasurer action items F1, the treasurer's financial report, F2, the supplemental to permanent appropriations, and F3, the fund-to-fund transfer.
Second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. West. Mr. Nichols, any discussion or questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Ms. Smyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Action items, Mr. Sable.
First is donations. It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following donations to Medina City Schools. I would like to point out the $50,000 donation from our Medina Athletic Boosters. The donation is to purchase team uniforms. They do that on a rotational basis amongst the various teams in working with the athletic department. I also want to point out the anonymous donation of $350 to food service to pay off student lunch account debt over at Northrop. We get these through occasionally at the various buildings. I think it just shows the goodwill that we have out in our community, helping out our students and our families, as well as the $7,000 donation from Tim McCowan. He's the gentleman that you often see cutting the grass around our tennis courts. He dedicates a lot of time and money to the grounds around that area, board office and Fen, very dedicated to tennis and the grounds there. Number 2, it is recommended that the Board of Education adopt the resolution authorizing the Medina City School District's membership in the Ohio High School Athletic Association for the 24-25 school year, and this is presented to the board on an annual basis. Number 3, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the second reading and adoption of the following new and revised policies, bylaws, and forms. These were presented to the board for review at last month's meeting. Number 4 is field trips. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following overnight field trips in compliance with policy 2340. Both of these are for our wrestlers to go to wrestling tournaments I do want to point out that the wrestling tournament that they just attended on the 19th, we actually sent them a day early to avoid the snowstorm they came through, so they were there before the storm. Number 5, stipend payments. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following stipend payments to district teachers who have served as cooperating teachers for students attending colleges and universities during the fall 23 semester, and these are from the University of Akron as well as Cleveland State University. And last, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve all the following personnel recommendations pending completion of all required paperwork per the Director of Human Resources. Any questions or comments?
Can I have a motion to accept action items by the superintendent?
I make a motion to accept the action items.
Thank you, Mrs. Moyer. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. I just want to recognize Coach Mickey McGrath, the girls' head golf coach, for all her years of service and dedication to that program. She will be missed. Golf is obviously cyclical, and you have good days and bad days, good years and bad years, but she certainly got a lot of good years from the girls and won several conference titles. So I just want to thank her for her hard work. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, action item H.
And the last action item, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the proposed new high school course offerings for the 24-25 school year.
Have a motion?
I'll give a motion to approve action item H1.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Mr. West, any comments or any other questions?
The only thing as I mentioned before, was changing athletes to student. I think that would be much more preferable.
Okay, I agree. Any other comments? Okay, Mr. Chambers, give it a shot there.
Yes, Mr. Nichols?
Aye.
Mr. West?
Yes.
Ms. Meyer?
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, this is a point of public comment. We do have one person, Mr. Bohr, so as he comes up to the microphone, I have to read this over. Community members wishing to address the board are asked to abide by the following guidelines. Attendees shall register their intention to comment in the public portion of the meeting upon their arrival at the meeting. After those that have registered have spoken, if time allows, the board president will ask for public comment from all other attendees. Please state your name, address, and affiliation. Please keep comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. No participant may speak more than once on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer. No person may address or question board members individually. Mr. Bohr?
Thank you very much. I come tonight to ask a couple questions about the levy process and expenses. I spent a lot of years in a consulting capacity and worked for several different school districts over the years. And I had one particular one that when we got into money problems, I got a call from the superintendent one day and said, what if I reduced the average age of my employment population and hired some young people at the bottom and retired some of the older people at the top? So I don't even know where to go in your informational system to see if there's any information related to average age or average longevity of your employed population. I don't need an immediate answer. I'm just bringing it up as a subject. Listening to your commentary about school programs that are addressing some of the issues related to your levy. I represent a reasonably large population of those of us who no longer have any children in the system. And I've not seen anything in the last 2 months that I can recall publicly stated other than when you put the levy on the ballot. So I'm asking, are there other public forums that anything can be delivered to us? I will only lay one more comment on you. I retired a long time ago, but I started pulling my retirement in 2008. This is 2023. I haven't had a raise since then. I know most of your contracts with your staff have incremental increases in them. So as one of the elderly that sits out here and listens to what you have to say, I'm always amused. You've got an ever-increasing payroll situation going on in your contracts. So why do you continue to come to the payors and ask us to dig deeper in our pockets? Last but not least, I did a lot of work back in the late 80s, early 90s on building numbers prior to the building of the new high school and Ruit and a couple other things. We were pushing 7,500 students. We're down at 6,600. What do you all know about what's going to happen in the next 10 years? Last time I checked, there's not that many empty lots left in our area to build to bring more population in. So I'm wondering how you're going to address that, and I guess that must be the clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you want to answer the levy question or not? Okay. Okay. Mr. Boyer, Mr. Sable would be happy to meet with you about the levy and the information going out. I have the same concern about the people over 60 and targeting them. And we do have someone coming in on Thursday to help basically kick off the campaign so it gets started before early voting starts. So that's what I can tell you about the levy. At this time, we need to go into executive session to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, or compensation of a public employee or official, to consider the investigation of charges or complaints against a public employee, official, licensee, or regulated individual, and discussion with the board's legal counsel of disputes involving the board that are subject of pending or imminent court action. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to move into executive session.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. West. Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Roll call.
Yes, Mr. West.
Yes.
Mr. Nichols.
Aye.
Ms. Smar.
Aye.
Ms. Pritchard.
Aye.
Thank you.
Just so you know, there will be no action taken after we come out of executive session. Thank you all for coming, and we will take a short break and come right back for executive session. Thank you very much.